What this does is it picks up some of the graphite, not all of it, but it lightens up the drawing a little bit. I can still see the drawing, and ironically it shows just the parts I want because some of the looser graphite is picked up. You don't have to do this. I'm just showing you this is just a possibility. And usually when you pen and ink, sometimes people put down a piece of paper to protect their hand from smearing anything there, and that's an option you have. But when you go to do the ink, sometimes I use a brush and ink, but just for this part I'll just do the rapidograph, or the micron, sorry, and just kind of go through this. Now I can look at the drawing that's here, and the idea is you're trying to look for some thin and thick lines. The thick lines are usually at the bottom of the shaded part of the object where the light hits and the line comes. But just once you get it out there, depending on the texture of your sketchbook or paper that you have, that's the piece. And you don't want to push too hard. I'm using the number 5 right here and just kind of inking it in. And sometimes I'll do the eyes, maybe not right away, but I'm doing that now, only because it gives the drawing a little bit more character right away. So as you're sitting there illustrating this, it's just your own choice. It kind of has, you already have a character looking at you, so it kind of gets you a little style there. So there's the beginning of it. And again, I do one line, maybe I'll put a thicker line next to it in order to emphasize this part. Has the nose. I can still look back at the reference of it. I have this part of the nose, and your drawing's going to change a little bit from the actual character, so you can kind of get that idea that's there, and then slowly build this up. So, for example, the mouth, this little lip section, is there, and what I'm saying is you're going to do the heavier side, usually on the one side, and let the thin line be up at the top, just to exaggerate the thin and thick line and give it a little more life to the line as it comes around. So as you start to draw this part out, you can kind of see how it's illustrating. And you have both this and the Sharpie marker, so it kind of gives you a little bit of help. And again, depending on your texture of your paper, it'll give you a little bit of a character. And the ear, for example, they just have one line for the ear. I'm just going to put in a couple. And the hair, if I do these lines, these are called hatch lines. They're just straight across. It could be black, but I'm going to outline it because I might want to use the color pencil to help me with the shading as well as some of the body of it. And then this mustache, just kind of build it up a little bit. And it's easy to do this once you get the hang of it. Just kind of starts to build it up. Building that around there. And again, these hatch lines, I'm just using it to go with the form. So this little handlebar mustache that they have, just kind of build that piece up. And again, you can use the Sharpie as well. Take a look at that eyebrow going. And just kind of get it in there. Like I said, it's the 5 is the biggest. You have the Sharpie marker if you're trying to get a thicker line, but you might lose a little bit of clarity with it. So sometimes a good idea is to build it up with this part. Don't push too hard. But the thin and thick line just gives a little bit more body to it. You know, it's kind of the traditional style of doing that. And so, for example, there's the hat. Just kind of with the first outline, I'm going to heavy it up a little bit. See how you do. So this part, just kind of shading it a little bit. We haven't really talked too much about the posterization, the line work, hatch lines, cross hatch lines, that type of thing. we'll touch on them. Just want you to kind of jump right into this part. So with his hair, I'm just kind of going with the form and wrapping that around there. And same with the eyebrows there. And the cheek. So see how you do. I'm going to heavy mine up a little bit more as I go.